Hello, everyone, and how are you doing today? My name's Andrew Fredrickson. I am the senior producer at For Access Games, and I was lead producer for XCOM Chimera Squad. Here today, super excited to be playing some of the first gameplay that you're going to get to see, aside from some of the videos, live action from our secret undisclosed location. But I'll be joined today by a couple other co-workers with me. Please meet Sarah and Mark. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Yes, my name is Mark Nada. I am the lead designer of XCOM Chimera Squad. Really looking forward to people getting a hold of it tomorrow or late tonight, whatever it may be for some people. Yeah.
And I am Sarah Lynn, producer for Chimera Squad. Really stoked to be here with you guys, just like old times.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I never move or blink, just like.
So you'll have to forgive us jumping around a little bit. Definitely working on some of this stuff right here. But as you can see, we got the game up and running, and we're going to jump to it real fast here. But just before we do, I want to remind everyone that XCOM Chimera Squad is releasing tonight at midnight, or whatever that means for your local time zone, midnight Eastern. So it's going to be coming out on Steam, available for PC. So check it out as soon as you can. It's got a promotional price for a little while, so special pricing is always great. But beyond that, let's go ahead and jump in. You guys want to talk a little bit about some of the cool things that we're seeing on here? Some parts of this look familiar to our players. Some is definitely a little bit new.
Sure, yeah. I mean, this is a classic squad select screen. You have 4 of our new characters up there. You're pretty decked out at this point, looks like. Everyone's got a lot of gear.
Yeah, I started this game a little while ago, so I'm about a third of the way through the game, roughly. I've taken down one faction and just starting another one right now. We're going to be going on the first mission.
Yeah, and you get a little bit more info up in the up left about what kinds of breach points are there. We have a new utility slot, which is just for breach items, so that could affect what you want to bring. Number of encounters is also important. A lot of items/abilities are one use per mission, so you really want to know how long of a mission you're getting into.
And then over here we've got our android, and our androids, we can bring them along, and these are basically reinforcements for us. So when we lose an agent in the middle of combat, assuming we stabilize and we don't fail out, for the next encounter we can bring this android in to fill that slot, so we're not too weakened. But let's go ahead and just jump right into a tactical mission. I know everyone's waiting to see that gameplay.
Oh.
Instead of globe trotting, we're driving around City 31, so we've got our APC to get about the town.
Sick power slide for you.
The 3-1 PD received a tip. It seems the
This is our new conversation system that we're going to see at a lot of the big narrative points. And this is Whisper. He's sort of the base's communications organizations guy. You're not going to bring him on any missions, but he's going to be a huge part of the gameplay. But again, here we are, breach mode. Mark, you want to talk this through?
So breach mode is a brand new system for Chimera Squad. If you think about it as kind of an evolution of the ambush mechanics of XCOM 2, you can probably map it. We'll see it in a second. But there's kind of this pre-planning phase right here where you get to line up your agents and pick which order they go into the room, as well as which order they're going to shoot during the breach sequence.
So what is this we see right here?
So that it means it's green because no one is going to shoot at you, and 8 means that you can see 8 enemies from this breach point.
Okay, so
sometimes that's red, and says agent damage likely, which means you're going to get shot at.
And then we've got
This is the first encounter of a first mission in an investigation, so these are typically going to be a little bit smoother, right?
Yeah, the difficulty of both kind of what enemies are around and also how difficult the prepared the enemies are at these breach points definitely goes up as an investigation continues, for sure.
And we'll see a little bit more of this as we go, but some of these are going to require specific abilities or items. Right now we're just hopping out of our van, so I think anyone can manage to do that. So it's a matter of just choosing who we want to go. And one of the cool things when we choose someone, we'll see it happen here in just a minute, but it's also affecting what order they're going to get to fight in on the time.
Yeah, so we have interleave turns now. But the relative order of your units is determined by you, so you have some control over if you have specific combos you want to do, you can know who goes first and who goes second, etc.
So I'm going ahead.
Really useful to keep in mind.
All units, so we got the strong bonus on aim, so everyone's going to have a good time shooting off, good accuracy shooting here. But we got Zephyr loaded up first, and she's our melee-only character who's really cool. I like to throw her in early sometimes to get a good jump on the enemies.
And her video just went up on social media along with Torque. So if anybody hasn't checked those out, definitely recommend run over to YouTube after the stream.
And here we can see that certain slots, in addition to being able to, require items to go in, we've got Terminal. She's got a breach ability that she's actually unlocked by leveling up a bit. But she also is carrying an item, a flash bomb. So both of these she can use once per mission. Obviously, we're not really hurting, so we don't need to use the heal. And we could choose to use the flash bomb if we wanted to, kind of start the game off strong. So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Nice.
And then we'll throw these in. Do you have any suggestions here?
Oh man, these two.
I'm going to play with him because I really like some of his abilities getting played a little earlier in the timeline.
You can mess with the
Yeah.
timeline with Shelter. Might be good to do early.
So over here we see it. Now if we wanted to swap them around, I can just go ahead and say, okay, well, and then those two swap. We see the change over there. But I'm going to stick with our original plan. It's a little stronger.
Go, go, go!
So this is the breach mode. We can down here we can see all the different enemies. We can also just cycle through and find who we want. And we've got a lot of cool information going on here that's going to choose what actions we take. We can see their states. Mark, you could talk a little bit about that while I make a couple of choices here.
Sure, yeah, so you get to choose between abilities, but the kind of main target prioritization puzzle comes from the enemy reaction states. All of them are surprise because, like we said, it's an early mission in this investigation. Surprise enemies aren't going to do anything, and you get a bit of an aim bonus against them. We'll see alert enemies a little bit later, which you don't get any aim bonuses, and they do an ability right after the breach sequence. Could be moving to better cover, or hunkering down, or a character-specific thing like throwing a smoke bomb or something like that.
But as you noted, we not only do we have that aim bonus from the breach point, but they're all surprise. So we've got a really strong chance to hit pretty much anyone. I'm going to go ahead and try and get some of these people up here. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about who we're fighting once we get into combat.
Nice.
I love just watching her go around the map. It's always fun. So we're
Okay, I want to pause here for just a second because this is the first time that we're seeing like the full timeline with the enemies interleaved in with our units. And I want to just talk about how that changed so much gameplay. Just
Right.
because that was such a big change between having, your own team go and then the enemy team go. And it blew my mind how much fallout that had on every other system.
Absolutely. I mean, even
Yeah.
some of the things that seem to stay more similar to previous XCOMs, it still had to change quite a bit to work in this new system, and it's made the challenge, while familiar, definitely new and different. So,
The agent, or yeah, you can just play in the background while we
Alright.
talk about.
well, I'm gonna talk quickly. I'm gonna prioritize this guy over here just because we've got someone marked up who's gonna try and leave the market. So I want to take care of him before he leaves.
You're gonna target the guy going 11th.
I am. I don't want him to run, but I'm gonna do it.
But you've got 4 units going before he does.
Oh, fine, Sarah.
Smashing extremity.
Oops.
You got.
Yep, good job.
Can't take that away from you. But yeah, so the timeline really throws a wrench into how you might think about target prioritization, like you would before in XCOM. Got lucky with the miss there. Ooh, nice. We'll talk about Zephyr's really cool. We'll talk about it in a second. But yeah, there's you're always kind of outnumbered too. Enemies get to do a lot more stuff, so I think the balance has shifted towards that every agent has their own abilities that they can do every turn, at least one ability they can do every turn. Really have to think about
Go.
crowd control a little more, or influencing the timeline, which we'll definitely see with the squad we have now, which is really fun.
So I definitely want to take this guy out because he's going to run, but I also want to take this guy out because he's next. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of those abilities you mentioned. And Terminal Our Medic's got this cooperation ability, which is going to give someone else a turn. And
They get one action. yeah.
one action, you're right, sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and give that to Torque back here.
I set him up, you knock him down.
And she's got a big accuracy boost that I've given her with a lot of the gear. So I'm going to let her shoot at this guy. Hopefully deny him his turn.
Nice.
She leads the way.
Fighting the progeny, they're mostly human psionic users. They have some aliens and hybrids in their ranks who they've kind of enthralled, as you can tell by their name being Thralls.
Thralls.
We're pretty clever here at Firaxis. But yeah, so you fight each faction one at a time, like you do their whole storyline, and then and that'll change a bit based on when you do it in the campaign. So if you do that first versus third, it'll be a pretty different experience with especially different bookend missions. Yeah, the factions are really interesting. There's a lot of, they each have their own set of enemies. They have their own combat music that you'll hear, so you get a nice change of pace of the music.
You're going to get to see
I think
some...
the soundtrack just went up too,
Yeah.
and it is so good.
We're going to have some...
Shout out to the audio team.
We're going to have some really cool moments with a couple abilities here. So I want to call out Shelter, our human psionic guy. This relocate ability. So I'm going to swap places with the Acolyte, but also bump him down the timeline because of the upgrade choices I've made.
Yeah, standard one you can swap with allies and or enemies, but if you upgrade it, yeah, you can push them down the timeline. Or I think the other one is it gives you a big defensive boost if you swap with allies. He's a really useful and interesting character. Like, you can also swap with, VIPs that you're trying to rescue. So he's really good at doing objectives and stuff like that.
And this one will be a popular ability.
Nice, yes.
With the free follow-up. So Mark, you want to talk about the action economy a little bit while I finish off this encounter?
Yeah, so we still use the 2-action system, but since you only have one agent's turn at a time, we loosened some stuff. So like items are a free action. There's a lot of gifting of actions and moving around. So yeah, it should feel pretty familiar, but you have the opportunity to have these really impactful turns where you can do a lot of stuff where you're granting other people actions to take some actions during your turn, or using your grenades because you need to deal with multiple enemies at the same time, because that situation comes up a lot. You're seemingly perpetually outnumbered, but you're able to deal with it with these really strong agents with their abilities and big turns.
Ooh, so I don't like the shot I have there. I'm going to go ahead.
Do you have anyone you could subdue?
No, I was looking to do that, but I didn't quite get there this encounter. I'm going to go ahead and use our new Overwatch.
Oh, yeah. So if you're able just to do it, we have a non-lethal takedown, which is guaranteed damage, and you have a chance to get... that was certainly not non-lethal, but but you have a chance to get some extra intel, which is a strategic resource if you do non-lethal takedowns. It does a pretty small amount of damage, but it's guaranteed, so it's kind of an interesting decision.
And then, yeah, the bonus for resources is always a good trade-off.
But you do have to run up to them, so there's also that. Be sure that it's, a good position for you to be in.
All right, so here we've got a little bit more of a choice because we got two different breach points. Obviously, we got one. Neither one of them is particularly dangerous, but one of them has this great advantage. The other one's got, someone's going to get marked. Obviously, with only one slot over here, we're not going to be able to put every agent and give them all a bonus. So some people are going to have to go. One person's going to have to deal with it. So the question is, who do we want to be marked for the encounter?
Yeah,
So, since you said you got a bunch of accuracy bonuses, maybe torque makes sense for pinpoint as well.
that's what I was gonna suggest.
Exactly. That's a great idea. So finding the synergies between how I've set up the agents, whether with their gear and their abilities, and also the bonuses. So let's see. I'm gonna let Zephyr be marked because she's got the armor, she's got the high health.
Yeah, she can tank something, and she can also parry if you attack someone.
Now, before we do run inside, I want to talk a little bit about how the world itself has changed between XCOM 2, as people know it, and what we have here in Chimera Squad.
You always loved the fish market, Sarah.
I do. It's one of the coolest maps. I mean, right here you can see these grotesque fish that are, for sale in this very living world. This isn't a war zone. It's where these people and aliens come together, and they're going and buying Friday night dinner, which I don't know if I would eat, but
Yeah.
but it's just really interesting the way the world builders have brought this together.
You'll see stuff that looks familiar in some ways, but when you look closer, like, yeah, I think I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, that's not a regular fish.
Yeah, and there's stuff all over the walls, and there's a lot more indoor spaces, and we actually show the walls way more, so you get to
Yes.
see a lot of the cool details.
All right,
Let's just get in there.
I'm going to do one more change before we get in there, and I'm going to actually swap the order.
Oh,
Oh yeah, there you go.
And that way, because we not only can we change the agents in per breach location, but we can change the order of the locations themselves. So,
Time to move. Breaching now.
all right.
Zephyr, as we saw before, she's pretty interesting because she doesn't have a gun, so her breach action is to run up and smack somebody, but she can actually cancel alert actions.
Okay, so great call. I'll have her run towards the back and take out that guy.
But yeah, she does end up away in the encounter, which could be bad if you can't cover her. But since she's going first, it should be okay.
All right, let's see here. We'll take out another alert person, or at least try.
Yeah, like I said before, alert means that they're going to do something. They might just move to better cover, but some of them have pretty crazy abilities they'll do if you let them get their alert ability off.
No.
And you don't get any aim bonuses against them.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead. We've got that really good crit chance. Let's just take this.
Yeah.
all right, not bad. Oh, and there's one of our civilians over there. Kind of near where your right-hand side of your squad wound up.
Oh yeah, we have alien civilians now.
Yeah.
Wearing clothes. I know how jarring that can be. It was jarring for us as well when we were developing it. But civilians are a cool kind of auxiliary mechanic where they don't offer any bonuses, but you can run up to and rescue them. And if you let civilians die, however, there are unrest in the city will go up.
Yeah,
we
we'll
still
have
have
to
missions
talk
where
about
the
that.
objective. Yeah.
So
Some missions that are about civilians too, but not this one.
one of the things that we saw earlier, but I want to highlight. So Zephyr, after she does it, not everyone can move after they attack. That's actually a special bonus that she has, and she gets this momentum where she can either she can move, or as I've upgraded, she's got parry here, which blocks damage. But because she's got this really cool ability, which is called Lockdown, which is basically a Overwatch on anyone next to her. I like to put her next to people, so basically, hopefully if they try and do something, she's just going to take them out before they act.
Nice.
Like we got a question about how long an average playthrough will be. It depends. I think it's landing somewhere around 20-ish hours. I think it could be done a little bit faster, or a good bit slower, depending on your play style.
Yeah, we'll see some of that when we get back to the map. We can talk about the different mission types and how you can you can choose a little bit of how quickly you want to deal with things. All right.
I am interested to see how our speedrunners get through this.
So I'm going to use Terminal's Heal, which is her ability that she can use every turn, which is not quite strong enough, but it did work. Darn it.
Good job, Andrew.
Be in the next encounter.
Exactly. So let's have a little bit of fun. Since we only got 2 guys left, I'm going to use that relocate again. And deny this guy his turn for a while. And then Soulfire's going to bump this guy down in turn order 2.
Shelter's so cool. He's one of my favorite to use. The squad you have now is really good at kind of messing with enemies and moving the timeline around, which is definitely a very valid way to play. You could also just opt to do a bunch of damage as well. There's certainly characters that are good at that. That's, you know, maybe the strongest way to mess with the timeline is removing an enemy from it.
She leads the way.
Alright. So you shouldn't be able to get far enough away. Hopefully we'll be able to have Zephyr come in and this guy's going to be able to go. So let's do that subdue you were talking about earlier.
So you can do a non-lethal takedown. Zephyr's so mobile that no problem getting over there. Oof.
So what are the benefits of subdue versus lethal damage?
So the first one as like a tactical option is that it's guaranteed to hit. It does low damage, but you know, guaranteed to hit is guaranteed to hit. It's pretty good. And then yeah, you have an escalating chance to get bonus intel based on how many people you subdue. There is a point where it just becomes guaranteed that you get bonus. If you subdue 5 enemies in a mission, you get guaranteed intel. But intel is a really useful strategy resource, so
Careful. You're coming up on a
it's
container
definitely worth
maze.
thinking about if you have the
Property
option
will
to
try
subdue
lose you
missions.
there, or ambush you, or both. Watch yourselves in there.
Alright, container maze. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Oh, this is a great one when I've already got
Oh,
Zephyr
yeah.
upgraded. Just going to fly around the map.
All units.
Yeah. I think also between encounters, I should mention that you do get everyone reloads. I mean, Zephyr doesn't reload because she doesn't have a gun, but
I like
you get a
to-
free reload. Yeah.
I like to imagine she's cracking her knuckles and just...
Yeah.
She's just getting ready. Pumping up.
And there are some campaign options which can allow you to turn on between encounter healing as well. By default, the easiest difficulty story has full healing, and then the middle ones have halfway healing, and then impossible has no healing. So definitely bring terminal or some healing items if if you're playing on impossible.
Go, go, go.
So we see our first aggressive enemy here.
Right. So he's gonna shoot at you. We only have one entrance, so he's definitely shooting here.
Right.
Zephyr could go out there and get him, but
Well,
She'll
she's...
shoot first,
sequence
though,
actually
right?
happens after. Yeah, her attack actually happens after the whole breach sequence happens, so
So-
she won't stop it.
I'm going to leave that guy for other people, and I'm going to go after having her take out some of these alert. And let's see here. We got a strong chance, but we've also got the toxic greeting, which I'm always a big fan of. A little bit better.
I have noticed you favor that when you play.
Well, guaranteed to hit. It's good. Particularly strong really early because you know people have less health.
All right.
Just gonna leave the poison and kill that guy.
Well,
I get to take a shot.
I was
Yeah.
hoping we would have a better chance, but I'm going to go...
Use Shelter's breach ability. So each agent has a breach ability. Shelter's is called Dazzle, where he disorients everyone, and you can target someone to do like a better disorient or a longer disorient.
I don't think this guy's going to live long enough to warrant being dazzled, so... Oh.
Nice.
Clearly not.
Oh, and you're in a great spot with Zephyr, too.
Oh, yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, a danger spot, but if
Oh.
things go well, a
There's our
great spot.
target.
All
I think we
right.
have a question about mod support. We do have mod support. It's pretty similar to what you would expect or had from XCOM 2. So if you are a person who wants to make mods, you know, go for it.
So I'm going to be launching crowd control here. I can't stress how much fun this one is.
Fast as I can.
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and have her just trigger momentum, or parry for once with her momentum point.
Yeah, that's, I love the crowd control.
So here we got an interesting choice. I'm going to suggest we got this guy up on the roof that I don't want to deal with. And because, as you mentioned, there's some abilities that only can be used once per mission. Let's go ahead and use Team Up right now, which is a super powerful thing, especially if you haven't used it yet. This is going to bump Zephyr, who just went up in the timeline to be next after the current agent. So Torque will still get her turn, but it's going to let Zephyr go right away.
This is your kind of team-wide default timeline manipulation ability you get. It's really a really strong tool to use when you're in kind of a tough jam, just letting someone else just jump to the top.
Covering ground.
Hey Andrew, what difficulty are you playing on? Twitch chat is asking.
I'm on normal right now, and as someone who's I geared up. I know I'm not as good as you, Mark.
Yeah, I don't even play on Impossible. I play mostly on Expert.
So I really didn't want this guy to get away because he's going to run out, and I don't want to be losing
Yeah,
anyone.
related to the objective.
Don't
Yeah.
struggle.
Now because
yeah, upgraded bind.
I upgraded Bind, so she's dropping a lot of these lower level guys pretty quick. And let's have Zephyr come up here and take care of this guy on the roof.
Question about controller support. It does have controller support.
Yep. Let's see here. What can we get away with? We're going to be able to fly her up front. That bonus movement is really helping Zephyr out.
Yeah, seriously.
Transferring.
Alright. You want to do should I do a cooperation and get yet another turn somewhere?
Why not? Why not?
I love how differently you play this game than I do.
Go now.
It's a lot of fun because, like, depending which characters you end up choosing or unlocking, you know, you're gonna have a squad with a whole different set of abilities. And
Go ahead.
I don't always play this way. This is definitely a different experience for me too. So I used Shelter to get that extra turn, and then brought this guy all the way across. Now, unfortunately, it put him into cover, which is not a great chance. But I'll just use Pin Down
To manipulate the timeline even more. Yes.
That poor guy did not know what was happening. So we've got Zephyr doesn't have a turn for a while. So let's go ahead and have her give her spot up.
Changing locale.
Go on. Plan my route.
And then he'll be close enough to do another subdue.
Arrested the hostile.
Do you know it?
So these thralls definitely have some
Many wounds.
mind control effects, causing them to say some things that might sound a little bit strange until you've learned a lot more of the lore.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Slithering.
Oh, go ahead.
Creepy stuff happening with the progeny for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of just interesting storytelling that's a little subtle, and you can slowly piece the pieces together as you're playing through the campaign. It's a little bit of detective work on the player's part there.
Shattering.
There's lore literally everywhere, though, if that's your thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of text blurbs, you know, from the archives, and there's
Oh,
stuff
no.
all over the walls. Oh, you shouldn't make it. Okay.
All right,
Let's
get that. I think this will be my 5th person, so we'll get that guaranteed intel boost.
Another collar for the mech.
Ah, it was only
Ooh,
4.
50%. That's pretty much guaranteed, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But we were able to rescue all 4 civilians. No one got hurt, so we're in a pretty good state here.
We do have terminals lightly wounded. That won't leave a scar, will it?
She should be fine.
Okay.
So yeah, the scar system. I mean, there's obviously the elephant in the room, the change of removing permadeath. There are still pretty drastic consequences for bad things happening in tactical. Some of the scars, you get scars if you go down or are heavily wounded in missions, and some of them have pretty drastic consequences. I think we might have someone in strategy that has one.
We'll go see them.
It's that bad, but
no, it's not too bad. We'll see that one in a second. But before I click through, I just wanted to point out here. You kind of mentioned that narratives everywhere. We get to see a little bit of what that market was like. Presumably before and after the assault. But we also can learn where Director Kelly was talking to Bradford. We get some lore information everywhere, as well as getting our reports on the mission, what we earned. Now, Mark, you'll note I didn't get that 80%. It didn't come up, so unfortunately.
What?
Yeah, I know.
But it was 80.
And,
That's like guaranteed.
Yeah.
But we did finish, on this day, we've got an assembly project that's complete, as well as finishing a training. So we'll see what those are when we get into strategy.
Progeny went after expensive assets. What's behind their sudden need for funding? They have no love for hybrids, which presumes a motive to kill the mayor. As for means, psionics could give them the ultimate insider, a member of Mayor Nightingale's protective detail.
Some light tutorial spoilers, but unavoidable.
Well, we don't know they don't know what they are.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So that was we'll see those sort of mini cinematics like that throughout the game whenever we have main quest related progression. And in this case, where you sort of just completed the groundwork as it is for the progeny, learning a little bit about them. This is our investigation screen where we can come and see basically what missions we've done, what we know about the faction. Later on, we'll learn more about the leader. We don't know enough right now. I'm not going to click it, but there is more information if I went back and saw that other faction that I completed. But I think, Mark, you touched on this earlier about how coming to these things in different orders can have different effects. And here we've got a dark event, which is basically because the progeny had made some progress while we were working on the Sacred Coil. Now we have to deal with this dark event during while combating the progeny. And it's going to get worse when we go into the next one if we go that far.
The longer you put off doing certain investigations, the more progress that enemy faction makes, and that takes the form of dark events, which are these kind of tougher combat modifiers. Oh, we got a radio show happening. Pretty funny. There's a lot of. There's obviously your squad's gonna be talking back and forth to each other, but there are also these kind of ambient radio shows or commercials and stuff that are really fun.
So we'll get to the city map, which I know obviously we can see right here. There's a lot going on there, but we'll get to that in a minute. I wanted to jump through some of the things that sort of unlocked or completed over the course of the day. You can see down here we've got Verge. He completed a training while everyone else was out. So actually, he was a little softer, but now he's done that training. He's actually increased his stats. So that's awesome. And one of the things that training can do, if we look at this, Verge has a scar. So we could either put him in here to remove his scar, which in this case is blunted, which is lowering his crit chance, which is not great, but for Verge, who's a psionic,
that's true.
That's not too bad. We could live with that one for a while. I actually put off fixing that so I could train him on getting more hit points. We could choose to send him back in and get his dodge up, or we could try to remove a penalty. Now, obviously, we don't want to gather too many scars, so it's something to keep an eye on.
It's really cool. You can, at the highest level, you can even get new abilities for your agents, which is really strong. And the stat upgrades are pretty crazy as well. Like I think so I'm going to get extra utility slots, which is really strong. Get pips of armor.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and actually remove Terminal and let her go into training. We can see that. So she's got one of those utility item upgrades.
Great.
I'll go ahead and let her start that.
Yeah, and like we mentioned in tactical, using utility items is a free action, so I think having another one is pretty good.
And then we've got we also got Torque here, who's earned an upgrade, so we can go ahead, jump straight to the armory, and promote her. As you can see.
Cool. But yeah, each agent is their own class, pretty much. So they, on top of these abilities, they'll have their items, and yeah, tabbing around the armory is really satisfying. All mocapped by the same guy.
So
Shout out to Justin.
I can still see Justin every time I see some of these.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm gonna go ahead and
ability choice.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take reinforced scales. I think how we've been playing her with using the bind a lot, this is kind of a no-brainer for this particular playstyle. But the poison is great. I think it's just they're dying real quick right now. So
Yeah,
let's
makes
keep
sense if you're binding a lot to double down on it. Extra damage plus extra defense.
All right, and then so obviously the other things while we're here, let's go ahead and just look real quick at armory. We've got the loadout where you can come in. We can change them just before a mission, but we can also come in here to juggle people's gear around. I'll actually go ahead and remove what Terminal's got, just because she doesn't need that right now while she's sitting in training. And oh, good point. We've got their biographies right here. So for people who want to learn about them, I know you said we've released some of this just, I guess, while I was sitting here getting the stream, staring at that. These just came up, so hopefully you all get a chance to check that out and see the cool videos that have been put together by our other teams. And we can adjust their armor color, which I've had fun with. Some of them are still basic, but or default, I should say. The other thing we've got is Spec Ops. Mark, you want to tell us a little bit about that? I'll just click through real quick so people can see what we've got.
This is a bit of an evolution of the covert ops system. You can send people off to get resources. These take time to do, that the agent is unavailable for that time. But you can also do some pretty big strategic gameplay effects.
Now
like
these first three were the sort of default, but because we've gotten further up, we have got these, like you said, we got the district unrest.
Yep.
But they have different requirements too. We can't just stick anyone in here. Like Godmother, I recruited her pretty recently, so she hasn't ranked up yet. So she's not going to be able to do this one after she does this. I'm going to have to bring her on some missions.
Kind of our way of maybe getting you to sub out some of your stronger agents.
Yeah.
Just get some other people out there in the field.
Yeah, it's great too. A lot of times, like I'll put someone who's new into training and have them rank up that way. Get a couple of HP upgrade or some more dodge chance, and then bring them out the field. So while they already have some abilities, it gets some stats up as well. We've also got the assembly here. So we just completed a project, so we can choose another one. Obviously, there's a lot here. We can look at the different categories as well. One of the cool things, though, you can assign someone. I'll go ahead and remove Blue Blood for now, and we'll see that these things take a significant amount of time. But if we go ahead and bring someone back in, let's pull someone else out of active duty. I think people have seen enough of me punching, so I'll go ahead and pull Zephyr for a while.
Do some research, Zephyr. Your fists.
But now all these things, so they're going to speed up the time, so it's really powerful to put someone in here when you can afford to.
And you can also eventually unlock more slots for training Spec Ops and Assembly. You'll get more agents as well.
I've actually got that one right here, so we could choose to do that one, which is pretty cool, but we don't have another agent. Like I kind of feel like we're pretty balanced out there. I'm really intrigued by this Sacred Coil equipment and fire gear.
Oh yeah, the once you complete an investigation, you defeat an enemy faction, you get some new assembly project options, and they generally have really fun and powerful gear in them. Like the Sacred Coil equipment here, Kinetic Screen is kind of like Cherub's main ability, where you can put a shield on someone. Bubble Grenade, you can put an AoE stasis on enemies, which enemies not getting turns, you can't hurt them, but you can also throw it on friendlies too if you want to protect someone. Very strong, kind of the weirder effects of your standard equipment come from a lot of these projects.
So I'll go ahead and I'll get that started.
Now, I do want to point out that Assembly will always be available to you, but Spec Ops, you do need to have someone assigned to it in order to get progress there.
And obviously same with training as well. So that's a little bit of the UI difference. This Assembly is 3 days for the whole thing. If we put someone else in there, they don't do another project, they help the current project go even faster. Whereas Spec Ops, we could actually run 2 different Spec Ops or do 2 different trainings.
Assembly is always making passive progress.
Yep.
So let's fill these last 2 slots. Blue Blood and Verge can come along on our next mission.
Until
look
we
at-
have
let's
a
look at
global
the old
financial
map.
System, City 31
Director
requires
Kelly.
hard currency.
Jane Kelly,
Fortunately,
shout out
so
to
does the project.
XCOM 2
We
tutorial.
believe they're nearly out of money.
Not only she survived, clearly, she's ranked up quite a bit.
Doing well in the world, yeah.
So, city maps got so much going on, so much important stuff here, but at the same time, you know, it's really only a few key choices that you got to make. You guys just jump in when you want to, but you know, obviously, we've already talked about how this is focused on City 31. So instead of a geoscape, we're staring down at just the city map, looking at the 9 different districts. We can see that I've done I like to think, a pretty good job of keeping things pretty safe. One of the things, as we talked about before, you know, we got to manage the unrest and the anarchy. Because I completed a faction, I got a good, you know, reduction to anarchy. It was creeping up a fair bit in my game just before I completed the Sacred Coil. So a little bit of breathing room as we get started. But some of these districts are creeping up. If we don't do something here, Riverside's going to go up and be at full, and once we have a district at full unrest, that's going to start adding to our city anarchy.
So the macro game of Chimera Squad is a lot about managing the unrest for the districts. You can do some of that by what mission choices or situations, which are kind of non-tactical things on the map that you decide to go on. But the ones you ignore, as you can see, they're previewing that they're gonna raise unrest. You have some other tools to deal with it as well, which are, the main one is field teams, which give you this ability bar of active things you can do on the map, but also have cool passive effects.
So yeah, down here I've already unlocked the first few of these. So I've got Vigilance, so we can reduce a district, and one of the cool things, these have cooldown, so we'll choose the order. We got to choose a careful time to use them. Like this one, Dragnet. We don't have any situations on the map right now, so I'm not going to use this one. But it'll be available when we do get a situation. However, Quarantine is this, I think, is a perfect time for this one, because we've got one district that's, you know, at 0, it's about to go up to 2, and we've got another district that's at 4, and it'll cap out, but it's got a reward to lower the unrest as well. So I could turn this from going to full down really darn low. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and use my Quarantine to just stop Renova Heights.
Yep.
And now we can see that's
Reward. Oh.
Did I do it wrong?
No, it was fine, but plasma grenade and frag grenade, that's good.
Those are pretty good.
Adhesion grenade, that's a new item. We added a kind of rooted status effect, which is fun, and if it happens to enemies. But yeah, I think that the plasma grenade and frag grenade is fine to go for.
And now, do you think, should I drop this one so it'll go down to 0 after this one, or should I drop the Fringe?
It depends. The Fringe is going to raise every day. The hidden target is a mission that's not available yet. It's going to go up 1 every day. It puts a little mini pressure on you to get going.
Especially since it's already up at 2.
Right. And how the macro game loss mechanic works is, if the city anarchy thing goes all the way up, you'll lose. That only goes up if a day passes and there are any districts at max unrest.
Now
there isn't really like a clock per se of like stuff always happening and always progressing towards failure, but unrest kind of ramps up as the game goes on. But you'll get more tools to deal with it, but it's just kind of something you have to manage with field teams and your strategic gameplay.
Now we do have this one as well to reduce the anarchy, but I don't have a field team in every district. What you can see, I've got, you know, most of them covered. I got a rank 2 and a couple of rank 2s for tech, some finance, some security. So we can see, but I haven't covered the stacks or the Fringe. So I could look and see what we've got offered in there.
So there are 3 types of field teams. They all have passive effects. They have a basic effect, and they can be upgraded as you do some more assembly projects. But in general, they start around the 3 resource types. Every Friday is payday. It's ideal world.
Well, it's about to be Friday, so let's go ahead and use one upgrade now. And you notice that the costs are different because I've made more finance teams, so that's going to cost more to do. I do like that.
If only you had gotten that extra intel.
That would have been
really
nice.
Helpful, yeah.
Well, I like a security one though. I think getting the extra intel, as well as getting the lower unrest every Friday, is pretty nice. Once I upgrade it a few more times.
The field team passes are kind of sneaky, but you'll really get an engine going by the time you really get into the game. Where you're getting bonus resources from going on missions in the districts, or you're getting bonus on rest removal. It's really good to invest in the field teams pretty early.
So this one, because I put a field team there, instead of dropping it by 1, it's actually an additional 1 per field team rank. So I'm actually going to get rid of all of the unrest here.
Pretty good.
So it's still going to go up 1, but I'd rather have it at 1 than 3. So let's go ahead and start this mission that we talked about.
Sure. Get some juicy utility items.
Now, let's go ahead and get some gear for Blue Blood and Verge. I took a couple people out and make sure I got all their gear available. Now, Blue Blood, I'll go ahead and throw some gear on these guys if you want to talk about how they play different than the characters we already saw.
Sure. So, Blue Blood is a pretty good DPS carry for your team if you're looking for that, which generally you are. He shoots a lot. He can shoot twice on his turn if he doesn't move. And he has a lot of things where he can shoot multiple enemies, and he's pretty accurate as well. He's using pistols, so he's not like the highest damage per shot character, but he, in general, is one of your main ways if you're trying to kill a lot of enemies. And then Verge, or Sectoid, has a totally different playstyle than anyone else, where he's all about using psionics and manipulating enemies. When we get into tactical, you'll see, but he actually starts with 2 abilities you can use every turn, where you can stun them, or you can make people go berserk and attack their allies. And all the while he's building up connections onto this neural network, which he just gets bonuses from and other abilities tee off of. So he's really great in these kind of longer engagements, because he just keeps getting stronger as the encounter goes on.
Yeah, the more you use him, the more benefits you're gonna get.
Alright, I geared him up. Let's get going.
Operation Nightfather. I got to do the mission name generator this time, which was a big fun thing for me.
Congratulations.
So definitely tweet funny names that you see at me. I'll appreciate it. We have a question. I got a question a while ago about maps. Do the individual maps change? So the maps are interesting in this game. They're certainly not as procedural as XCOM 2. They're all custom-made maps, but we proceduralize a lot of the ways you go through them. If that makes sense. We have missions that have multiple encounters, and some are abridged and have lower numbers of encounters, and we'll go through the maps through different entrances and in different directions, and a lot of them will have like 4 rooms, so we generally only max out at about 3 encounters, so you'll see rooms you didn't see before. But that being said, there are a lot of the maps in general as well, so
yeah, it's a lot of maps. I mean, and the rooms, not only are there different rooms, but you'll come through them in different directions and different orders. So, you know, what could be the tough boss fight when you come from one direction, if you play it on a different playthrough, might be the room that you actually start in and get that surprise start. I'm going to go ahead and use Lancer Shot, where Blue Blood, as you mentioned, he's our pistol guy. He's got this really special, powerful pistol that can ignore all the defensive cover bonuses that people are getting.
yeah, Zephyr had no guns. Blood's got 2 guns.
Now this is interesting. These are not progeny enemies.
Yeah, who could they be?
All right.
I don't know that we want to give anything away, but
So I'm gonna levitate this guy that we have no idea what faction he's a
Oh,
part
you
of.
should let him go. You should let him go. Be cool. For the fans. Oh. Boo.
I gotta do the levitate combo. So this guy's.
Done it to anybody.
Well, I'll just dazzle
Oh,
him.
yeah, so levitate is a new status effect we have, or levitated is or lifted is a new status effect where units lose their cover bonuses, you know, that's generally good in XCOM. There's enemies that can do it to you as well and will slam you into the ground. And Verge can also get that ability later with some upgrades.
I see the VIP.
Ooh, we got an
Get to
extract
the evac.
mission.
ah, that's our VIP. Okay.
What's interesting is if you have both shelter and torque, so you could use your agents to move this guy around if you need to.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, this guy up here who's gonna go, as well as that necromancer you really wanted to let live.
Yeah. Cool. If he didn't cancel his alert thing, I think he would have done something pretty spicy, but he'll probably do it on his next turn.
Well, he was aggressive.
Oh, he was aggressive. Oh, okay. That's fine.
Let's see, do we have?
I guess I'll let it slide. Ooh. Blue Blood also has this ability called Phase Lance, which just does a giant line AoE.
Oh,
I don't have a good line on any.
Civilian back there.
Yeah, too many civilians in the.
With that ability can be upgraded as well. But you could also like shoot before you do it if you don't move, which is crazy.
All right, I'm gonna take the. So Blue Blood's got this at every turn ability, Deadeye, which is a aim penalty but a significant damage boost. I'm willing to risk it to just take this acolyte out.
What's the worst that could happen?
Think fast.
Nothing.
gamble.
Damn.
All right, so I'm gonna just start bringing him up, hopefully safely on the outside.
Yeah, stand by those very explosive cars.
nothing could go wrong.
I think he'll called a necromancer, so I don't know if that's gonna give away kind of what he does. He has several abilities on top of that, so
All right.
look out for that. He's a tough customer.
So I'm going to use, as you mentioned, Verge has two different at wills. He's got Battle Madness, which I'll go ahead and use first on this Bruiser right here. And this is going to make him attack a nearby target and add him to what's called our neural network.
You were very game show sounding when you said
Yeah,
neural
our
network.
neural network.
Welcome
on,
to the
Dan.
neural network.
And he missed. Classic XCOM. Yeah, Verge, it's really good to start just connecting with people,
Yeah.
you know.
And then-
he gets aim bonuses and crit bonuses.
Now this is Stupor, so I was able to basically stun him for 2 turns, so that 2 actions, so that guy is just going to miss his whole turn. Now I've got 2 guys on my network. Now, one of the things I'm going to choose to do is actually use that team up ability, since this is a 1 encounter mission,
Yeah.
and just get Verge to go again right away.
Oh, good call.
And let's get... Who are you thinking? I'm going to swap with somebody here. Probably drag this Psy Zombie.
If you kill the necromancer, the Psy Zombie will go away.
Exactly, I'll come back here.
Ah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it'll work out, but I'm willing to try.
You also have a Motile Inducer if you need to use it, which is a ludicrously strong item where you can just immediately give someone 2 actions. We actually limit that to 1 per campaign because it's so strong.
We're going to go crazy on the neural network. So this is
I
slightly.
made him go again.
So Verge is going to get he didn't actually get another turn from that motile inducer. It's 2 action points. So he's going to get 2 action points now. Shelter will get to finish his turn, and then Verge will get his regular turn.
So this is just kind of hinting at some of the shenanigans you can get up to. It's always these psionic guys who do the crazy stuff.
So
Now,
we're.
do you have any neural network upgrades on Verge right now? Do you remember?
I do. I have a couple. One of them, actually, anyone who gets instead of being eliminated or killed, they'll actually get knocked unconscious.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Big intel.
Breathing room.
That ability upgrade's interesting because it's more of a strategic upgrade.
Now I got 1 action left. Let's see what we can get away with. These guys are softened up, so Verge might have a good chance. Let's Soulfire.
You know, mind lash him.
Is there anyone left we don't have on the neural network? Let's do it. So we went real big on the neural network.
Because he stunned that guy, so zombie disappeared.
So we got, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 guys. This is a good time for a mind flay.
Do it.
Achievement!
Ah. So I got an unconscious, took him out.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nice. I should have softened him up a little bit more.
Keep low.
Yeah, that kind of thing gets even crazier when you get Verge's ultimate ability. Which I'll let people discover.
Now, should I go ahead and... this is 2 to 3. Should I give it a risk here? Or should I just take a shot?
You've been
Well,
having
he's-
good luck.
Well, I guess he's on the network, so he's going to go unconscious anyway. Let's take the higher
Oh, that's
damage.
true, yeah.
Smart gameplay.
Let's... Now, these guys are all
He's also
stunned.
stunned, yeah.
Yeah, let's get this...
Guy's just was berserk. So. Oh, you hit the.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
Oh no! Was that the...
Blew up 2 civilians.
Oh...
It wasn't a VIP. But
Okay.
everyone's a VIP to someone.
Wow, Mark.
That's fair.
Look, I'm not playing, alright? It's Andrew.
Oh, that other car is gonna blow soon, too.
If they move, I'll shoot.
So I've got Ever Vigilant on... Oh. On
Stand
Blue
by.
Blood.
Yeah!
So, well, one of the things I noticed, just so everyone notices, I put him on Ever Vigilant, so he moved up, so he actually got a free Overwatch by moving up rather than taking a shot from him.
One of the ways to get kind of old Overwatch, our new Overwatch is actually a cone, which we can show off. We don't have to actually do it, but Ever Vigilant is just like anyone that I see, which is very good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Shelter's so helpful for objectives, just be able to move people around.
I think any VIP mission I play, I want him with my team.
I've had a lot of luck, but also big mistakes trying to teleport him right to an objective. So I can like disarm something really quickly, but then he ends up
Then you're
in
just in the middle of everyone.
Yeah.
some hot water real fast.
Well, if you have
Get
bonus
armored up.
actions.
All right, let's see, what do we got? We got 1 Necromancer left. We'll have no problem with that, right?
Repositioning.
I think you'll probably start getting reinforcements at the end of this round, though. Right, no one was around that car.
Nice. Oh man, that unconscious upgrade is great.
Verge
So-
kind of carried this one.
So as you called it, we've got reinforcements looking like they're going to come in over here. So, but because we got this arms dealer going next, I'm going to go ahead and let Blue Blood evac.
Reinforcements kind of shuffle into the timeline. You generally get the turns before them. Also, generally in missions, we shied away from a lot of hard timers. There are some things have timers on them, but a lot of the pressure to get you to finish something is based on reinforcements coming in.
Going over there.
Now, I'm not going to have enough space to make it, so let's go ahead and just cover it with an overwatch.
Yeah, so we mark up all the entrances that they could come up, so there's a little bit, if you have your whole squad, you can potentially cover all of them, but sometimes there's a little bit of a guessing game there.
So again, not going to quite be able to make it.
So you hit that car again and blow it up.
Oh, they spread out for me.
Couldn't quite see that guy.
No, they...
Uh,
Oh, there was
so-
a third spot down here I wasn't covering. Oh, great. I'll rescue
Alright,
him.
you got this, yeah.
Only one guy is gonna get to
Come
go.
on, get to safety.
Or just got that armor. He'll be okay. Now I'm going to go crazy here.
What the? See that guy?
There we go.
Yeah, they automatically get rescued when you when you finish. That's cool.
So I earned
Got
the
a
intel.
Huge,
Yeah, there you go. Nice
a
job.
huge neural network. Yeah, a lot of the combos and really all around which agents you bring into missions, which I think a lot of the replayability is going to come in too, is just start up with some agents you maybe haven't played too much before. You can get 8 on a single campaign. They're all unlocked from the start though if you want to start with whoever. The tutorial has set characters, but you know, next playthrough,
Yeah,
whatever you want, go crazy.
there's a few characters I'm playing with it. You know, because I didn't do a tutorial start this game, I was able to set up the squad that I started with. So
Yeah, you definitely find new combinations as you're playing with the different squad setups.
well, guys, I think that's gonna about wrap it up for our game today. We've got a lot of new decisions to make, as you can see. We've got an upgrade ready for shelter that we could take. We got our field team payday that we talked about. And I think pretty soon we would be dealing with the scavenger market. But for right now, I just want to say thank you all so much. You know, what you saw today was from the middle of the game, roughly a little early mid. And I want to thank Mark and Sarah, both of you, for joining. It was awesome. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. It was
Thank
good to
you.
be back here.
No,
Yeah, on
well,
behalf of the entire team, you know, we're really looking forward to everyone getting to play it tomorrow. So
well, yeah, it's releasing tonight at midnight Eastern time, but it's a worldwide release, so adjust that for whatever time zone you're in. Check it out on PC, available on Steam, and don't forget that special pricing. And just want to say thanks again, everyone, and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you.